Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
We had some fun. All right. History of Latinos in America. We watched a documentary piece of it last week. We went over some history with the Dominican Republic. So I got just a few more pages in the book, and then we can go into some of the questions that might have been asked. So Israel, if you got questions that you would like us to maybe address, I'm not saying we have all the answers, right? But we may have an answer for you, all right? Go ahead and ask those questions in the chats. Producers are looking at them. They'll let us know some of the questions, and we'll let you know if we answer them or not.
And don't forget, you can call in.
Hey, you can also call in. That's right. 516-531-9797. 516-531-9797. All right? So let's go to page 121 in the book. And since I can't see my monitor, let me know when you have it up.
It's up.
Okay. So I'm going to go to that last paragraph. I'm going to recap from there as I jump forward. So we were talking about the dynamics of their immigration. We were showing how it's little known that America invaded and occupied the Dominican Republic twice. They again, just multiple examples. Once from when we started with Puerto Rico, we went to Guatemala. We dealt with Cuba very heavily. All right. Next time we're gonna talk about Lord's will Nicaragua. All right. Woof. And that one's heavy. That one I gotta bring a lot of stuff out because you got the Sandinistas. Yep. You got the Somosas. And the documentary will tell you the Somosas were almost. He says they were, if not as bad as Trujillo, they were trying to be worse than him. And we know that Trujillo, they say, out of all these
dictators,
I want to say United States dictators, these American dictators that were trained and set up by them, he was by far the worst, right? With the atrocities that he committed. And it's interesting because even in that, talking about spewing out abominations, there's still a lot of people in DR to this day that they value some of his ideals. They'll still.
This is true, especially some of the people that were former military.
Right. Even one of the older guys that was with us for a little while, he had people in his circle that he had us on a radio show out there for a little while. He had people in his circle that were very pro, like Trujillo and those type of guys. Like, I remember he had like a little card with them and stuff like that. And we were like, damn, why does he have Trujillo? From what we read, Trujillo was terrible. But some people, believed in his ideals and things like that. Listen, these guys don't. There's always a portion of the people that support him. Like Hitler didn't come to power in isolation. Right. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of people that, had the same views as him. He just enabled them to be able to bring them out and display them.
And typically what happens with a lot of these leaders, they're very charismatic. So
Right.
they win you over by
Right.
your speech.
Right. Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. It's funny that you say that too, because this isn't off topic. It'll seem off topic. It's almost cult like. I was watching Mad Max Fury Road again. I had seen it in the theaters, and I saw it the second time. And now I was analyzing it a little different, and I was like, man, I said this is the way he had his war boys, and he had them so indoctrinated that they were willing to die for this guy. And like there's one scene where if any of you've seen it, if you haven't, it's actually a pretty good action movie. It's a little weird when you watch the scenes. It's a little what you're not used to, especially if you're not familiar with the Mad Max series. But it's probably the whole movie's just like a chase scene, but it's like the most action-packed chase scene that you'll see. And anyway, so there's one moment where he like sprays the guy because they would spray them with like the chrome. They were like, yeah, we're going to die shiny and chrome and go into Valhalla. And he told them, yeah, if you get this girl back from me or whatever, he was like, I'll carry you to Valhalla myself. And the dude was like super motivated because his charismatic leader, Morton Joe, was like, yeah, they felt like this way about him and stuff. So so you have these rulers that are like that and people are there. So we were talking about Trujillo, so on and so forth. And the theme through all of this, and you'll see again as we continue through going through Central, South America, and the Caribbean, many of these guys were set up and trained by the United States. They were their guys until they weren't. So, meaning once they got tired of them, they supported the other side.
We got our use
and it's like it's like a vicious cycle that they did. They would even put out hits on you, which is why they didn't like Castro, because they would have supported Castro if Castro would have rolled with them. But Castro didn't want to sell the people out, right? So. Anyway, so it says most Americans still recall exactly what they were doing the day they heard the news John Kennedy had been shot. So it is with Dominicans who recall every detail of the afternoon of April 24th, 1965. The day the Dominican Revolution began. Estela Vasquez was sitting in her grandmother's house listening to the radio show of velvet-voiced commentator Francisco Peña Gomez. Every Saturday, Peña Gomez, the youth leader of Juan Bosch's Dominican Revolutionary Party, would host a weekly show. It was called Tribuna Democrática, Democratic Tribune, and it was especially popular among poor, darker-skinned Dominicans who all knew that Peña Gomez was one of the few blacks to hold a prominent political post in the country. So, last week we had spoke about the whole color thing, and, we brought out scriptures where people, we get enemies on the show, scoffers out there, oh, look, you guys you're too light-skinned or whatever, right? But going into what it says in Hosea 7 and 8, it's a cake not turn, all right? We also brought out a speckled bird, right? And we showed how the Most High, even with all that mixing, made sure that his remnant, whose spirit bears witness with the Bible, will repent and will keep these commandments. And they're going to look all different shades. They're going to look all different ways. So Peña Gomez was one of those, right? And it was inspiring them to see that.
Right.
We talk about that image of Christ. It's not something to pray to, bow down to like we did in Christianity. We're not saying, our fathers to it and Hail Marys and things like that. But it's empowering to see that. Look at how the kids, man, they seen the Avengers and they want to be Spider-Man and Tony Stark and the Hulk. So it's important for them to see our people so that they can do that. Because in their isolation, they'll look past that. And they'll want to. That sets up idolization of the enemy, idolization of the heathen.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's important that you see this stuff. They're talking about doing a different Superman movie, and they want to cast Superman to be black. Everybody's up in arms about it.
Yeah,
they want to do the Green Lantern, and they want to do Jon Stewart first, which is the black one, and everybody's mad. No, you got to do Hal Jordan. They did Hal Jordan, and
it was trash.
What club was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
and we showed how the Most High, even with all that mixing, made sure that his remnant, whose spirit bears witness with the Bible, will repent and will keep these commandments. And they're going to look all different shades. They're going to look all different ways. So Peña Gomez was one of those, right? And it was inspiring them to see that.
Right.
You know, we talk about that image of Christ. It's not something to pray to, bow down to like we did in Christianity. We're not saying, you know, our fathers to it and Hail Marys and things like that. But it's empowering to see that. Look at how the kids, man, they seen the Avengers and they want to be Spider-Man and Tony Stark and the Hulk. So it's important for them to see our people so that they can do that. Because in their isolation, they'll look past that and they'll want to. That sets up idolization of the enemy, idolization of the heathen.
Right.
So it's important that you see this stuff. They're talking about doing a different Superman movie, and they want to cast Superman to be black. Everybody's up in arms about it.
Yeah,
they want to do the Green Lantern, and they want to do Jon Stewart first, which is the black one, and everybody's mad. No, you got to do Hal Jordan. They did Hal Jordan, and
it was trash.
Hey, they were mad when Annie was black.
Right. Yeah, they did Annie black, even though it was kind of whack.
Well, they made it that way. They did that on purpose.
They
because
did.
You know, would have had soul. Would have been like the Wiz.
They try to change it too much. I think they just should have took the same thing.
Yeah.
And just, you know, salt it up.
Like they did with the Wiz.
I didn't watch it.
Salt it up.
Remember that?
Yeah, the Wiz was dope.
The Wiz was dope. They took Dorothy to a whole different level on that thing, man.
yeah.
They had Nipsey Russell on that thing.
Yep.
The real Nipsey Russell, not Nipsey Hussle. Not Nipsey Hussle.
Hey, I know everybody got confused right now for a second.
That's why I had to say it. I know it. And then it had Michael Jackson, Anna Ross. Yep. I mean, it was good. Yep.
Yeah. So you know, it's important that our people see that stuff. So they're telling you here, this guy on the radio, and this was on the radio, but they knew he was black. They knew he held a prominent political post. They were into that. All right. I'm gonna jump down because I think we did read some of the other stuff where they started with the rebellion. Let me jump. Remember, we were talking about how they bombed them with the planes.
Hey, what you getting at? Santo Indian like Squanto. Hey, it's interesting that you say that. He says this is the first time I've learned about Dominican my entire life because that's not their names.
Yeah.
They're true biblical names, right? I mean, when you really sit down and think about it, man, that's all part of the divide and conquer. All right, you don't mention that. There's a lot of people that didn't know Puerto Rico even existed.
Right.
You know, I mean, so that's by design, brother, man. You know what I'm saying, man? So just goes to show you that's part of the crafty counsel from Psalms 83.
Get Deuteronomy 28:37 because that's a lot of times we go over this and we'll talk about just the bywords, but just being called outside our name. That's exactly what Cap was bringing out. Let's bring that out.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
A lot of times we would just bring that out on the basis level, right, and say they call us all the derogatory terms that they have for us, right? But when it says a byword, it means being outside of what you really are. So when they call us Dominicans, when they call us Puerto Ricans, when they call us black, African American, whatever it is, right, that's colloquially known today as the races, that's part of them keeping us hidden, right? That's them hidden ones. That's so it's like a multi-pronged effect. It was like, listen, just if you call them something long enough, most people are gonna forget what they were really called, and that's gonna be what it is.
Hey, hence why they made and they put Columbus as a hero, because if he was a hero, then we couldn't have been in slavery.
Yeah.
Right, and if we couldn't have been in slavery, then we're not the same people. We're not the people of the book. You see the craftiness behind. They do. That scripture says they do a diligent search.
Yep.
Their thoughts, their inward thoughts, are deep, man. This you gotta understand, man. See, we can't fathom this in our minds right now because we're destroyed, man. Right. But when you really sit down and look at this from all aspects, especially spiritual, you're like, wow.
Right.
You know,
this heavy because you said you brought out about the sister and the image that we get to see and how it affected us. If we know where we come from, our image is we're gonna get the image of our forefathers in the scriptures. So they had to take that name away.
Right. And that's why it's important that we paint the picture that we do. That's why it's important that we're unified in it too, because you know you can also create the thing for some of our, let's say, lighter skin tribes. And there's some Judah that's lighter skin that they may feel a way about the skin that they're in.
Right.
So we can't do that. It's not really about that.
Right.
It's just important to see your people in positive roles and in positive images, right?
Right.
It's not just the color aspect of it. It's just knowing that that's really your person, right?
But remember, that's part of Willie Lynch. They made it a color thing in
Yeah.
slavery. They
Yeah.
put the light against the dark. So you have to understand that's also crafty counsel.
That's something we always knew. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. You cool, man. You know, but it just goes to show you, man, that we need to uncover all this stuff, man, because there was so many damn trick babies that they put on us. That this is why we are at odds with each other and we don't know who we are. Remember that the whole key is for us never to know who we are, because once we know who we are, those that are elected by the Most High God will start repenting and start following the law, statutes, and commandment, and they already know what the end result of that is. 144,000, according to Revelation 7, are going to be sealed. That's what they're trying to avoid, man. It's a big war between Jacob and Esau.
Yep.
You heard that people haven't subscribed yet?
Subscribe now. Hit that button.
What are you waiting for? We've been on there forever. Just subscribe already.
Lego.
Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We
got
back.
the nations running scared because Israel is back. All lies on us because we keeping them laws. When the Lord return, Babylon will fall. Precepts solid. We got them on lock. God's chosen people with Christ as our rock. Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We back.
You heathen, get ready for our whip to crack.
Damn.